We've got Jacob Mullins. Mullins.
Yeah. Yep, Mullins.
You are from Greensboro.
Greensboro, North Carolina. Yeah, man.
We're in CG, Collective Genius, together. And we connected this last week, and you had a lot of cool things that you were talking about.
Yeah, man.
One of the things that stuck out, you were I'm a happy dude.
I am a happy dude. Life is good, man.
Yeah.
It's all good.
So when we were getting this set up, you were like one of the first people that came to mind. I was like,
cool.
Jacob, come out.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
So,
good to come out and hang.
Yeah. I've got a list of questions
Okay.
that we're going to go through. And the first one is, who were you before you started investing in real estate?
So I was a plumber, man. I was a guy out there. If you had a clogged up pipe, I was rodding that stuff out, just sending it, just boom, boom, just, I wouldn't say it was too glorious of a life, but it was a living. And my dad was a plumber, and I kind of stepped in his shoes. And, fortunately, plumbers get paid pretty decent money. So it actually was awesome because it gave me a great foundation to leap into real estate.
Very cool. How many years were you a plumber?
So my dad would take me out on the truck when I was like just a little boy. So I'm like, 6 years old. I'd have to learn what the tools are and learn what the different fittings were. And I would pretty much go out to the truck, grab it, bring it back to him and watch what he was doing.
Nice.
So it was an amazing experience for me. I just cared about, just hanging out with my dad. He was an awesome dude.
Yeah.
Really, really a great sales guy. And he was a big mentor in my life.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you went to trade school, went through that whole process?
No, I just went with my dad. I did go to trade school later, as I got in apprenticeship and all that. So, but yeah, that's how I kind of started out. I was a plumber, and I grew up in Chicago, or a little suburb outside of Chicago called Elgin, Illinois.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
So what sparked your interest in real estate?
Dude, it was very clear. I had a buddy. Two things. So I had an uncle. He was just this pure entrepreneur. He had his own real estate company, property management company. He flipped houses. He had a hard money lending company. He also was an attorney by trade, so he had a law firm.
Jeez.
And I mean, this guy, he was just like, you talk about ecosystem for making money. This guy was just doing it all. And every time I would go out there, he'd be buying this house, making $100,000 on this flip, and it was all in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So he was killing it, and he was a dominant force. So that's what kind of inspired me. That was number one. Number two, like a lot of other people, read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Awesome book, super inspiring, and I'm like, I would love to live my life like this book has kind of got laid out.
Very cool. Would you say that you've always been entrepreneurial, or what was that? Did you have like a notable event that sparked it for you?
So fortunately, back to what I was talking about with my father and my uncle. So my uncle, he was a Jewish guy. My father, he was a hillbilly, but they were both hustlers, man. So and I got to see two different sides of everything. Both like killer sales guys, and I knew that I wanted more in my life.
Yeah.
There's something I think my dad instilled in me since I was a little boy. It's like you got to work hard. And you got to save your money, and you got to be a good human being. And I kind of held those three pretty tight in my life, and that's what's guided me.
Nice. Very cool. In that beginning, like, just walk me through that transition from, you had your dad in the plumbing business, you had your uncle who's super successful. Was it a dynamic of like the rich dad, poor dad scenario?
I wouldn't say that, man. I don't, because my dad, he wasn't poor by any means. He was a hustler. He had a pretty good sized plumbing company. But you wanted to know the difference, or like, what did you want to know on there?
Yeah, like you said, it seemed like you were more attracted to your uncle's method of operation.
All right, this is the deal. Tradesmen, they can make a ton of money. And actually right now you got private equity companies that are scooping these trades companies up and making millions of dollars. My brother just sold his company for $18 million.
Holy cow.
The plumbing company. So a private equity firm, but they're doing this all over everywhere, So this is the deal. If you are in that business and you're working every single day, it's hard on your body long term, man. And when you go to bed at night, you're still not making money. In real estate, you can go to bed at night and you're still making money, man. You don't have to be like hands on everything. You can make a deal and send it and that's what some people's salaries are in a year, 6 months.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
You know, so that I was very money driven. You know, I wanted to have a lot of money, and my motivation is to build a financial, you know, wall around my family that no one can penetrate. And this is the most important thing. And real estate seemed like the path to get me there quickest.
Yeah, very cool. So let's talk about that transition. You went from being a plumber. How did you go from that to doing your first deal? And what was your first deal?
My first deal, I followed around so this is what happened. You know, I lived in Chicago. My uncle offered me a job to come out and work for him. I was involved in some bad things, and I just wanted to kind of make a change anyway. And I went out and worked for him. He's like, I'm not going to pay you anything. Like, it's going to be $20 a day, and you're going to work for me probably 3 to 4 years, and I'm going to teach you everything you need to know. And I was like, I had a decent base from doing plumbing, and I was like, the hell with it, I'm going to give it a shake, you know? So I went out there, and it was scary to do that, but I saw him doing a bunch of deals. So what I did in essence is I went to work for him for pretty much free, but he showed me everything. You know, he would let me overlook some of his flips. He would, you know, I'd look at what he bought stuff for, what he sold it for, what he did for the renovation, looked at his rentals, managed his rentals. And then as far as in my mind, I was scared to kind of take that leap because I was really making pretty decent money at a young age being a plumber. I mean, you could easily make $100,000 a year, but I didn't go to college, so this was kind of my college. And my first deal is he's like, hey, if you want, you can throw $15,000 in this deal. You're going to overlook it. You're going to flip it, and I think it's worth this much. So that's exactly what I did. It was I think it was like a townhouse or something, and I did that with him, and that ended up good. And then I ended up, the first real deal I did on my own though is what he would do. So he would send me a lot to auctions, and I would watch what these people would buy at auctions and what they would sell for. And in the auctions of South Carolina, it's different than North Carolina. You could put 5% down. You got 30 days to close the deal. And even if you didn't have the money, is what I figured out, you could put your 5% deposit down and you can assign that contract.
Oh, that's cool.
So the first deal I actually bought, this is actually pretty cool. It was, I bought a piece of garbage, double wide. It was just, it was the only thing I could get. You know, first of all, I didn't have like a bunch of money because I was working for my uncle and I wasn't making a ton of money. So it was like $23,000. I won the bid. It was a garbage double wide, but it was on an acre of land. And what I did to sell the deal is I was like, dude, I better get this sold pretty quick because I'm going to lose my 5% deposit.
Yeah.
So I actually, I knocked on everybody's door in the neighborhood and asked them if they were interested in buying it. And 2 neighbors ended up having a bidding war.
Wow.
And I ended up selling it for like $50-something thousand.
Nice.
And it was my first deal, and I was like, now I'm in business. And I just started putting 5% deposits down and bidding on different stuff at the foreclosure sale and then assigning it. And then, you know, eventually got a guy that saw what I was doing and asked if I ever needed any money. He saw me like doing some different deals. It was actually my kindergarten teacher's husband. You know, it's crazy. So it somehow got back to him that I was doing all these deals. He's like, hey man, I got this money if you want to work something out. And I was like, well, hell yeah, it'd be really cool because sometimes if I actually took these properties down and flipped them, I can get more money because I'm dealing with cash. I was in essence wholesaling.
Yeah.
And this was like 2007 to 8, you know, like, or, you know, a long time ago, before wholesaling was a popular thing.
Yeah. So you were only putting 5% down
5%
on a
down.
$23,000 mobile home.
That's right.
And then you were making what? That was like $20,000.
Yeah, $20-something thousand.
That's crazy.
It was wild, dude. It was
so
wild.
You just found a way.
I just found a path, man. I just found a path. You know who helped me out too? I always followed somebody and did research, but it wasn't like what there is. There's so much information right now.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I followed Dean Graziosi. He had a book, and I ended up joining his mastermind. This is a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And he kind of created him and Matt Larson, they kind of created a path for wholesaling, flipping, and mindset, and that really helped me out a lot too, man.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So you started like in the weeds, going to auctions.
Going to auctions, doing everything for my uncle, looking over projects, whatever, man. Anything I had to do.
Nice.
Yeah.
So that was your first deal?
Yep, pretty much. My first deal on my own, yep. That was a mobile home, yep.
So from there, what does your business look like today?
Today I buy 1 to 5 houses every week. I build So I started building actually recently. That's what kind of sparked our conversation. Yeah. So started building 6 months ago, built about 10 homes. Next year I'm on track to do 30. I already own the land, so I own 30 lots. Own 256 doors in North and South Carolina. And I have a big team that helps me do all this for sure, which is awesome. Love my team.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
Allows you to be here today.
Yeah. Allows me to be here today. So
nice.
It's a beautiful thing.
So I'm sure over the course of however many years you've been doing this, since that first deal in 2007, 2008, you've had ups and downs.
Oh, no, 100%. Yeah.
Give me a little bit of insight into what your worst deal was.
Oh God, I've got so many. I'll tell you, I'm not. So I got one that stuck out. So I would say flipping high end doesn't work for me. Wholesaling is a much better program. First of all, I know you don't wholesale too much, but wholesaling, I definitely recommend that. It's a lot better program to flipping, especially in the very beginning. But if you're going to flip, don't flip high-end houses. Not for me anyway. I suck at it. So I bought this house at auction. It's a crazy story. I sent my wife. She was pregnant with our firstborn. She's about to pop. But I needed to go to one auction, and I was like, babe, you're going to have to go and bid on this property, this other auction. So I sent her in there with the sharks to bid on this property. So we got it. We were all excited. She won. And we actually got it. It was in Pawleys Island, South Carolina. And I think we bought it for, I don't know, $290 or $270 or something, but it was a really cool house. It was big, and I had a good vision for it. But I ended up just, I had some crazy, terrible contractors. I don't know if you ever experienced that. So the first guy I used, he was like, yeah, man, I can do all this work. And he's like, I can remove these walls and put this beam up. And I was like, I kind of trusted the guy. He did a couple little jobs for me. And I was like, all right, well, fuck it. My bad. I was like, sorry about that, disregard. But so I was like, all right, let's give it a shake, right? And so he goes in here. We take out all these walls. We build up everything. This guy's got these beams up. And this is a huge span. I mean, this is probably like a 40-foot span or something. Just huge. It was just a huge open house. And we open it all up. And then my roofer came to start doing the roof, and the whole beam cracked.
What?
The beam cracked on the whole beam cracked, and I was like, dude, I thought you knew what you were doing here, man. I mean, what's going on? I mean, I'm no engineer, but I don't think it's supposed to crack when somebody goes up there.
40-foot span is pretty aggressive.
Or whatever. It may not have been 40, it was 30, but it was huge. Yeah. But he stacked all these beams up, and he said he knew what he was doing, and it was a blessing that it cracked, because that made me kind of question him and start asking some more questions and get an engineer involved. And because can you imagine if some dad was up there putting his Christmas lights up, falls through and ends up killing himself, and I have to have that on my soul, like on my conscience. I mean, I'm sure that's a crime. You probably go to jail for something like that. But anyway, we dug deeper. The whole thing was wrong. It ended up having to be redone. So I fired him, got another half-ass contractor in there. And he was actually a really good contractor. He just didn't show up a lot of times, and so he'd get a little bit of money, he'd work for a couple days, then he'd stop, and it was just that cycle throughout the whole process. Ended up losing $100,000 on the deal at the end of the day. So it was a beautiful house though, and it was done right at the end. Signed off on a structural engineer and everything. But I think that was one of the worst deal I did. Another one I did that really, really stuck out, man, is I bought this property super quick. It was 7 units, High Point, North Carolina. It was 3 duplexes, single family house. And I bought it for like $135. The dude was like, hey, let's do a deal. I need to do it quick. It's got to close right now, $135. I'm like, dude, I don't really need to think about that. 135, 7 units, let's go. Right? And it was already bringing in like 2 units were leased for $1,300 and one was leased for $600, and I had all these other vacant ones. I was like, let's go. So about a month later, City of High Point sends me a letter and say, hey, I don't know if the old owner told you, but we have like open, you don't have a sewer or a septic on this property. And it's just so like sewer was just flowing out the back. Oh, no. And I was like, well, no big deal. We'll just put a septic tank in or just connect it to the sewer. Just done deal, right? No, it was not that easy. Oh, no. So, dude, this process, fast forward 3 years, it has been vacant. I had an engineer do the whole sewer system, and to get to the sewer system, I got to cross a creek. So you get the, approval from the Corps of Engineers, And I had to buy a parcel between two properties. Thank God I was in a ditch, so it didn't cost me that much. It wasn't primo property or anything.
Yeah.
But I had to buy that, and then it's cost me several $100,000. I still have it vacant, but I'm about to the end of it. I just stroked another check for $40,000 as a deposit to finish it. My first round of engineering, long story short, didn't work. Second round hopefully will work. I should be done with the project in about 30 to 60 days. I pray, and hope. But yeah, moral of the story, just if you don't do your due diligence, you can really get hurt, especially when it comes to developing and sewer tapping and stuff like that. I had no idea.
Do you think that there was an element of, what do you think was the cause for you making poor decisions on those?
As an entrepreneur and someone who charges forward like a bull pretty much regularly, it's really good in a lot of cases, but it's bad in a case like this. So I would say you need to do your proper due diligence, whatever you're buying. Try to do it quick, because most deals are gone quick, the good ones, but do better due diligence.
Yeah. So that was just recently in the last 3 years.
That was recently in the last 3 years.
Even this far in your career, you're still making dumb decisions.
So at the end of the day, man, when you're flipping and wholesaling, if you don't miss on a couple, lose 5, 10 grand or make, very little, I think you need to re-look at how aggressively you're doing business. I want to charge and do great things.
Yeah.
So I'm buying a lot of deals.
Yeah.
So if I miss on 1 or 2 out of 50, that's not the end of the world.
Sure.
Because over the whole scheme of things, you're not losing.
Of course.
And I do believe, I'm in this to get it, man. I wake up and I jump in every day, head first, just trying to get this thing, man.
Are you going to make good on that deal when it's all said and done, or do you think you're going to be upside down?
At the end of the day, I owe very little on it, so it's going to be fine. I just have a ton of cash into it, so eventually I'll 1031 and probably buy something different.
Yeah.
But, I'm very blessed. God's been good to me, man. I make a lot of money, so it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about being a real estate investor, too. If you make enough money, you can kind of solve a lot of problems. You know, not saying it's sloppy, it's not good, but, I wish I was perfect, but, I messed up on that deal, and I'll own it.
Yeah. All right, so we've talked about some of your worst deals. Give me your best deal, favorite deal.
Oh God, I got one that's right here. You were there with me, sat next to me during the whole thing. So this is an awesome one. So my team was dealing with this seller, right? Just randomly, we actually hit him up on one parcel that he owned, and my team started talking to him a little bit and figured out he had 15 units, and it consisted of 9 single-family houses and 3 duplexes. And they were going back and forth and finally landed a number of $700,000 for the whole thing, right?
Dang.
And it's already leased.
Where is this?
This is in High Point, North Carolina. Okay. Super hood, dude. Yeah. Super hood. I mean, it was ridiculous. It's not something pretty. But we were getting it so cheap, I was like, somebody's got to buy this. I think it was bringing in $8,000 a month right now. Yeah. And there was 2 vacancies, and it was grossly mismanaged. They didn't care about anything. So what happened is we locked the deal up at we all agreed to $700,000, sent him a contract, and he goes to sign it, and my acquisition guy was like, "Hey, just let us know when we can walk the property, so we can just take a look at everything and just get this thing finalized after you sign." He's like, "Whoa, what are you talking about? Walking the property?" He's like, "I'm not going to bother my tenants. Some of these tenants have been with me for 20 years. I don't want to do that." And then he started backing out a little bit. He's like, "You know what? Actually, I just don't know if I want to do the deal. I'm out. I don't want to sell it to you anymore."
Oh no!
And then and that was it. My team thought it was dead, and I talked to my acquisition guy. I was like, "This is what you do. Go back to the guy, because he has some concerns about the holidays and all this stuff." And I was like, maybe I'm crazy, but this is kind of I think we're all a little bit crazy as entrepreneurs. Just you got to risk takers, but it's calculated. And I feel like it was a good enough deal, and it created some insulation for us. I told him, we'll pay $650,000 and we won't even look at it. And then not only will we do that, he was concerned about us raising the rent right away. We put in a stipulation in place that we'll keep the tenant's rate the same for 90 days after we close. And this kind of got him to where he was thinking about it, and he was back on. Eventually, my team got him to sign. And immediately when he signed, I got really good pictures. We did really good due diligence with links of Zillow links, of comps, of rentals, and of sales. But the buyer for this was a rental buyer, because this is like a pretty good portfolio. It spit out some money, and that's we kind of knew going in. So we did really good due diligence, showed comps, showed what market rent was, and I have a bunch of rentals, so I can kind of show them different comps and even what's on Zillow. And we put that deal out for $799.9, ended up selling it for $780. I did double close it. So I closed it like a week or two ago for $650, and then sold it the next day for $780.
Nice.
So it's wild. And the guy that bought it, he bought it sight unseen.
Really?
Yeah, it's got 1,000 units, and he had just understood the numbers. He understood the area. He was a big landlord, so it just made sense. But I mean, that was a really, really cool deal.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than that.
Dude, it was glorious.
And all that comes together in such a short window of time.
It would happen so quick. It all happened so quick, But we have a killer buyers list. So if you're wholesaling, we just dig on that buyers list. I mean, we're on like MLS every day. My disposition guy, he's on MLS every single day. He's scraping everybody who lists a new property, cold calling them and say, hey, I see you listed this property. You ready for your next one? And we're adding them to our list. Anybody who's putting a new rental up that's been turned like, hey, you looking to add rentals to your portfolio. So it is a daily cultivating thing. Our buyers list is ridiculous. If anybody is listening to this podcast, they want a JV, hit me up. Jacob Mullins, let's do this. Let's make some money. Sorry, I had to throw it in there, dude.
That's awesome. So with like the ups and downs, what are some like disciplines that you've held that keeps you straight on that course?
Dude, something that has really, really, really changed my life. So definitely, like you said, ups, downs. Sometimes you're making a lot of money. Sometimes you're just scraping by. You have to cut that off at around 5 or 6 o'clock, especially if you have a family and you have to do something else, whether it's working out. For me, it's hanging with my kids. I have 3 kids, 7, 6, and 5 months. So I try to shut it down. I try not to take phone calls. Not saying I never do it, but I do draw a line there that I'm very conscious of what I do. When I'm eating dinner with my family, you don't have the phone at the table.
Yeah.
That is so easy to get sucked into emails or, have a kid look at an iPad or something like that. Let's have a family together. Let's create a good family bond. Even if you're not married, if you don't have a family, if you have a significant other, that's time you guys can connect. Let's do something. Let's go to the park. Let's go for a walk. Let's go work out. Let's take a bike ride, whatever that is. But doing that and not working on the weekends, it actually makes you better, because burnout, it's a real thing, man. You can charge. And I would, I'm telling you, if I didn't set that up, I would just work all the time, and I have got burned out. And that leads to being less productive. So the more that you kind of take a break, take a little step back and do that has been a big thing. And I shared to you a big thing that I implemented this year is I used to get up, I take my kids to school, and then after I take my kids to school, I would just go to the office. But now I'm like, I take that time I get back to my house and I take a walk with my wife every single day. And bro, we connect so good. We just walk for like a mile. A mile takes like whatever it is, 15, 20, 25 minutes, whatever it is, a little over a mile. But we walk around and I ask her questions and I listen to her and I talk to her, and just like, dude, the connection and the power of the bond when you do this, brother. It is unbelievable, dude. Me and my wife, we are a tight unit right now, bro.
That's awesome.
Like, my love is strong. We just celebrated 8-year anniversary. And, dude, I'm telling you, I'm more in love with her now than I've ever been, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's so easy to fall into that trap of just go, and not taking a step back.
It is.
And the very thing that we build, like you mentioned earlier, building that hedge around your family that's impenetrable.
You got to, man.
The desire for that, you can get so distracted by pursuing that you sacrifice your own family's relationships.
That's right.
I applaud you for taking that step back. I mean, like those walks with your wife, those are priceless. It's priceless, dude. Because what are we doing? All the money in the world, man, it doesn't mean anything if you have a terrible relationship with your family. That's a big thing, and I know a lot of people that are very wealthy and very unhappy, so I'd like to be wealthy and really happy, but I feel like there's a balance there, but there is that,
you gotta kind of remain in this little area with a happy medium, but you have to put the time in your wife and then your kids for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
What do you think is the one thing that's allowed you to have that perspective of just being able to take a step back?
So it was many years of grinding. So right now I'm 42. How old are you, bro?
32.
32, so 10 years. So I've acquired a pretty good sized portfolio that has grown significantly. And in 10 years, no doubt, I mean, you've already done amazing for yourself. In 10 years, just imagine where you're going to be. But that has really helped me to take a step back. So as I mentioned earlier, what really got me into real estate is making money when you sleep. You know, so whether that be a business that you're not as involved with or rentals that you have, I mean, it's a big deal, man. Yeah. You know, so that did help. But just as you get older, and I'm not even like old, I'm 42, you know, I feel awesome, I work out, I'm happy. But I don't want to work my ass off every single day, dude. I want to have a little fun. Maybe I want to play some golf. Maybe I want to, you know, just go on vacations, do stuff like that. So it's, I don't know, man. It just got to draw a line in the sand and just have a good balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So going back to your first deal, we talked about how much you started with, like, specifically.
Yeah.
Did you have any sort of like limiting beliefs whenever you were doing that first deal? Like, what was going through your head?
I was terrified, dude. It was like, I didn't have a lot of money. I was thinking that if I lost this, maybe I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage payment next month. You know, what am I going to do if I don't do that? But then if you really program, like what that guy, he burned the ships. What's that guy? What the hell is his name? Columbus, or you know, the guy just burnt. He stormed the Battle of Normandy, and he burnt or whatever. Fucking, I don't even know what the fuck it was. But it's like, you know, he burned the ships. And he said, "Fuck it," and he went. Sorry, we just totally.
Close enough.
Yeah. No. What was the guy's name? No, you know who I'm talking about. He rolled up on a beach and he burned his ships, and he's like, "We're either going to win this battle or we're going to die."
Yes.
So
I know what you're talking about. I don't think that's the right guy.
I know. Whatever the guy, that guy. All right. So like whatever that, but just basically, you got to ultimately, at some point in time, you got to go for it. So that Steve Harvey guy, he said he's got a really good video on YouTube where he just jumped. He talks about jumping. You should definitely check that out if you haven't heard it before.
Yeah.
And Steve Harvey, you wouldn't think he's a motivational speaker, but that particular thing he nailed. And I just made a jump. I was like, I got to start somewhere. I got to do this, you know, because ultimately you're going to go through this life one time. You're either going to push and you're going to be great, or you're going to just kind of stay in the middle and be medium and regret it the rest of your life at the end of your life, you know? So you got to push and be great, my friend.
That's right.
Because I wake up every day knowing that I'm meant for greatness. It's awesome. 100%. There is no other choice for me, man. Get up and get it.
Get up and get it.
Get up and get it.
I like it.
Cortez. It was Cortez, Spanish conquistador.
Yeah, there it is.
That guy.
That guy.
That guy.
That dude. God bless him.
What was his first name?
Hernan?
I don't think it was Cortez, bro. Dude, I don't 100% know, but Tony Robbins talks about it, and you just look up "burn the ships."
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm no. What do you call it? Those people who like know the past and shit.
Historian.
I'm no historian. I'm no history buff, but I do know that it was a good concept, and we should follow what that guy did.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that first deal, taking that risk. From that point, would you have classified yourself as, where would you rank your risk tolerance level?
At that
prior
point,
to that?
So at that point, I not as bullish as I was today, because obviously you live from a little bit scarcity when you don't have a lot, you know. So I had to risk this little piece of what I had to do what I believe that would take me to the next level. And sometimes, as I said, you have to do it. It was terrifying to do it. But sometimes I think it's terrifying and motivating, because if I lost this, I'd be in a lot of trouble. So that led me to go and knock on everybody's door and do whatever I needed to do to get this deal together.
Yeah.
You know, so I literally knocked on every single door in this whole neighborhood. And it was kind of a sketchy neighborhood, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know, double wides, single wides, I mean, rundown places. But eventually I had two people that wanted it, and they ended up getting in a little bidding war. And I was like, well, just who's going to pay me the most ultimately and make it easy? And it was a cash deal, and I signed it. And it was just like, oh, man. You know, that when you take that risk and you hit that glory, it is just, man, it was a trajectory that changed my whole life.
Yeah.
It really was.
Very cool.
Yeah, man.
So after doing that first deal, you said you met somebody who helped finance some of your deals.
Correct. Yep.
What are some of the most strategic like relationships that you've had that along this journey that have gotten you to where you're at today?
So joining a mastermind, Dean Graziosi, that guy, and Matt Larson, that was another jump in my life. It was a little different jump. It was like 20 grand or 25 grand to join a mastermind. And doing that, I made my money back so many different times, but they created a path for me. They showed me, they helped me with my mindset to believe in myself, what to work on. They showed me strategy for doing wholesaling and flipping, how to get more leads. If I were to do everything all over again, I'm happy that I have my path. I did get smashed too. During the crash, I lost everything. I didn't tell you that, but it's just, that was tough. That was very tough. But if I had to do everything all over again, I would just find somebody that was the best at it. Like kind of what I did. I took that risk and I worked for my uncle, but he was sloppy in a lot of things. And he ultimately ended up owing the banks $27 million and lost everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a bad situation. But I learned what to do and what not to do. He believed in over leverage. So, and that's fine while everything is going up. You can refinance and get your money out. A lot of people believe in all this, but you got to have equity, man. You can't have borrowed money forever. A lot of people believe in the BRRRR and all this stuff. And I think it's a great thing. And there's a lot of cases where it works until it doesn't. If values go way down, that could hurt you a little bit,
Yeah.
So you have to have an end game where, for me, it's everything's going to be paid off. Yeah. But that, I know on paper and return, that's not the best, but you need to at least bare minimum, you have to have equity if things happen with banks.
Yeah.
Because they can call the notes, and if you owe this much, they can ask you for money or they're not going to renew.
Yeah. It's so easy to get caught up when you're on social media, some of these gurus now.
Dude, yeah, I know.
Especially some of the newer people coming up preaching the BRRRR and all this, scale and grow. It's a really enticing trap to fall into. And one of the big differences for me is like the investors that I know, the guys that are their late 40s, and up, who have the least amount of stress.
Yeah.
They've got it. They've made it. All of them have portfolios that are paid off. They don't owe the bank much at all. And those are the guys that I want to be,
Buddy, listen, dude. So I can tell you that it is incredible what you can build over time. Like right now, my pay down, not even cash flow, pay down, every single month is 30 grand.
Nice.
So, dude, that is freaking awesome. And I have really heavy equity in my properties. And over time, like that guy that was speaking, a Beeb guy, he said that his prediction is, in general, and it could be up, it could be down, but in the next 5 years, ultimately we gain 35% in value in emerging markets. And North Carolina, South Carolina are emerging markets.
Yeah.
So that's kind of fun and exciting. So everything you have, if you did nothing else, it's going to go up 35% in value. So it's just incredible what you do when you hold this real estate over time. I have several properties that are paid off. I'm going to pay a lot more off in the next 3 years. And eventually I'm not going to owe anybody anything. And what's cool is this, you just get this snowball. And if you get like a good bit, not that I have like tons and tons, but 256 is not bad. And it's a combination of commercial, residential, and all different things. But you can get this snowball that, let's say, like my goal is I want to get it to 100 grand a month net cash flow, not pay down, just net cash flow. When you get it to that point, you can take that 100 grand and you could start just paying off the properties.
Yeah.
You could pay off like one a month or, one every other month. And then it just gets bigger and bigger. And then before you know it, maybe your 100 grand goal in your life ends up being like $250 a month net when you sleep on the pillow at night. That's what I'm talking about, bro. That is that good stuff, man. I mean, that is what I want. And dude, when you get a good portfolio, I was on I have a portfolio manager, and we were talking on the phone, and I was kind of getting excited about it. So just do this. So what is it if you have 200 doors, whether residential, commercial, or whatever they are? So 200 doors, right? Just imagine tweaking a little knob, and let's say that over the course of a year at 200 doors, you can increase each door $50 a month. What is it?
That's a huge difference.
What is that? But I want you to tell me what it is.
200 doors.
200 doors.
I don't have my phone.
Okay. So we can break this down to simple math. All right. So 200. So 100 times 50 is what? It's $5,000, right? We know that. So double that is 10 grand. So 10 grand a month. Dude, if you raise 200 doors, so maybe my goal would be to get 200 doors and then manage them good, fix them right, because maintenance will kill you over time, or build them like you're doing. I love that. But if you can raise rent $50 a month, that's 10 grand a month. Bro, that is not anything to shake a stick at.
Yeah.
That's like a trip to Hawaii for a couple or something like that.
Extra 6 figures a year.
Yeah, dude, I know. Yeah. So it's cool, but it's just, you can just tweak and turn these little things, and it's just like, man, you can make a big difference. And naturally, what I think, I was talking to Al Perez at CG, he's like, rent doubles every 10 or 20, I don't know what he said, but naturally it's going up slowly over time with inflation, whatever it is. But we'll say if we go by what that guy says, 35% over 5 years, I mean, that's pretty strong. It's pretty strong.
It's pretty strong.
Yeah.
You mentioned when you were doing your first mastermind with Dean Graziosi and Matt Larson that they worked on your mindset.
Big, huge.
What were some of the biggest things that you had to work on with that to get that transition?
A huge thing, if you're going to go to the next level, is this. It's very, very simple, man. You can't do it all yourself. And the mindset that you can do everything yourself. I don't need help. I can just do it all. If I give it to someone, they're not going to do it as good as I can do. That is what he did. Is he drew an onion. Can I draw on that? So this is really cool. I don't know if you can pick this up with the camera or not, but basically, I took him aside and I was like, Dean, what's the biggest thing I can do to change my life? And he drew an onion, right? He drew an onion just like this with different layers on it. And then he asked me, he's like, what, like these things that you do, he put 20, then he put 50, then he put 75. And then he put, this is basically, he had the different layers. So on the outside layer of this onion, it was a very low number per hour. And it represented like $20 an hour or $10 an hour. And maybe this is making tedious phone calls, returning emails that you don't want to return, running and checking on a project for a renovation, something like that. So he said the quicker that you could delegate this out to someone else and then do things like $50 an hour. $50 an hour maybe as an acquisition guy or something like that. And I'm just using, it doesn't have to be relevant to what you pay your people. I'm just using just general numbers. So the $50 an hour, maybe instead of you doing acquisitions, you hire a badass that's going to do the acquisitions for you. So then you peel back that layer. You peel back this layer. You're not dealing with this anymore. Peel back this layer, hire your acquisition guy. You're not doing that anymore. And then all of a sudden you go to 75. Maybe that's reviewing contracts. Maybe that's looking at the big picture on your finance. Maybe that's stuff that a controller does that you were doing yourself. And you peel back that. Now, you got to figure out what you do best. This is your unique ability, right? So the middle of that onion is your unique ability. And the quicker that you can cut all this other stuff out of your life and just do what you do best. What do you do best? Oh, you didn't think I flip-flop on your...
I didn't think you flip-flop on me.
Now it's a Jacob Mullins podcast. Welcome, mother... So, dude, no. But all right, let's just say that you have a unique ability. All right, I'm not going to put you on the spot, bro.
No. I think my unique ability is brokering and putting deals together.
So, dude, how much other stuff is in your way from brokering or putting deals together?
So much stuff.
Just peel those layers out, bro. Peel those layers out. If you just did what you are amazing at, you would make so much more money, dude.
Yeah.
So, dude, and I'm not perfect, dude. I still do some stuff that I don't need to be doing. But I always picture that onion, and I'm like, man, you read that book, Who Not How? Mm-hmm. Amazing book. Yeah. I have another one that How to Get Your Life Back or something like that I'm listening to. It's super cool. And my really ability is I like making deals. I like meeting sellers and making deals. And dude, if I could just do that, I'd make a lot more money. But guess what? Consciously, throughout the time that I've been doing this and throughout the time that I met Dean, I constantly go back to that onion, man. What can I peel off? Who can I hire to take this off my hat? So, dude, this is the biggest thing that has changed my life, mindset-wise.
Yeah. So your unique ability is making deals.
I love to make deals, bro.
The best.
Dude, I'm a gunslinger, bro. That's it. I'm a straight up gunslinger, dude. That's just what I love to do. I love the hustle of it. I like to negotiate. I like to meet people. I like to figure out a way that everybody's going to win and get it on paper and get it closed.
Absolutely.
That's it, man.
It doesn't get much better than that.
It doesn't, dude.
It's super fun.
Very satisfying.
I've stepped back into running appointments recently.
I love it. I love it.
The best.
I love it. And dude, honestly, if you're good at it, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's just, dude, there's no one more sincere and can really speak from the heart and say, we're going to get this deal done for you. And when you shake that person's hand and you know in your heart that you're going to close that deal no matter what, that feels good.
Yeah.
You're going to help these people.
Of course.
You know? So,
awesome.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man.
Okay, so obviously you've had a pretty successful career in real estate. How has it changed your life?
Oh, dude. I'm a lot less stressed out, man. Not that I never stress, but I'm a lot less stressed out. I live a good life, man. I do pretty much whatever I want. If I want to go on vacation, I go on vacation. If I don't want to go into work today, I'm not going to go into work today. I just have freedom, you know? And I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I can tell you in the last 3 years, there's been a big change, you know? So it's just nice not to have to get up and hustle to make the bills every day, you know? There's something to that, man.
What's the biggest change in the last 2 years?
Stress. I'm not as stressed out, which is huge.
What's been the biggest change that's caused less stress?
Having a good, nest fund of money. Have a good, you got a good little nest fund, you got a little money on the side and you got that cash flow and that just kind of helps you sleep a little better at night.
Money does help.
It does. It does, It just does, man. It just does. And ultimately, some of the stuff that you stress about every single day, it's ultimately not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
You make it seem a lot worse than what it is. And I think that just comes with time. You have these problems that come in front of you and you look at them, you're like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And then you look back at it, you're like, yeah, this really wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I probably over-dramatized that a little bit. But yeah, just having the security just helps you sleep a little better at night, in my opinion.
Of course.
Yeah, for sure.
You've built the fortified wall.
Yeah. And again, I just want to tell you, dude, I am no master. I mean, you go to CG, I'm the bottom of the barrel, okay? I'm probably the bottom 5% of the room over there. So, but I mean, I've done a lot of things, which has been pretty cool. And I've been doing it a long time. I started in 2006, so that just goes to show you if you stack doors over time, I mean, it really makes you look pretty smart. So.
Start stacking doors as soon as you can.
That's right.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to keep up with you or reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
God, just look me up, Jacob Mullins, in Greensboro, North Carolina. I'd say JCM29577. I'm on Instagram. And I'm on Facebook. I know I'm 42. Probably a lot of people don't do Facebook, but but I'm on there. And so you can hit me up there, man, or just send me an email, Jacob at New South Property Solutions or newsouthps.com. Jacob at newsouthps.com.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate you coming out today.
Yeah, dude. Appreciate being here. Hanging for sure, dude.